Can I tell you something I've been thinking about? These are just some of the late night thoughts that have been keeping me company lately. Maybe they've kept you up too. So tonight, I simply want to share, not answers, just thoughts and whatever clarity they may bring. Here is what I've been learning and growing into recently. What makes push and pull so difficult is not that there are no beautiful moments. Perhaps it is that there are moments of closeness, moments of insight, moments that make us think, there, that's the truth. And then distance returns, and hope quietly whispers, maybe that moment is who they really are. Maybe this distance is only temporary. Maybe if I wait, maybe if I understand, maybe if I love a little better, a little harder, a little louder. And perhaps that hope that comes from something beautiful, as hope itself is beautiful. Yet it becomes heavy when it asks us to argue with reality, when it asks us to treat moments as promises or possibilities as commitments. Because people are not only their moments of insight and love, ask us to see the whole picture, not just the pieces that nourish our hope. One foot in the door, one foot out is still distance. And inconsistency is not asking us to become detectives. It is asking us to become honest, not about what we wish were true, but about what has consistently been. Because clarity has a strange way of bringing peace, even when the answer is not the one we hoped for. The heart grows tired, not from loving, but from trying to make sense of what was never spoken, from trying to hold on to moments that reality could not sustain. And perhaps push and pull is clarity, not because someone is wrong, not because someone is cruel, but because inconsistency itself is information. And when reality becomes clear, love can finally become peaceful. Sometimes what hurts is not losing the person. Sometimes what hurts is releasing the story we wrote in our minds, the future we imagined, the conversations we rehearsed, the life we hoped would unfold. We fall in love with possibilities, with potential, with what could be. But fantasies are gentle lies our hearts tell us when we don't want to see reality just yet. Love does not ask us to abandon our dreams, but love does ask us to stop mistaking a beautiful story for a real promise. Grief is simply love learning to let reality be real. Two people can love differently. One heart can give deeply, while the other can love more quietly or more cautiously, or not with the same depth. One person may see forever, while the other sees a season. One person may feel chosen, while the other feels kind. And that is one of the quiet griefs of being human. The significance someone has in our hearts does not determine the significance we hold in theirs. What I felt was real. What I gave was sincere. And I do not need another person to measure its value for me. Love does not become smaller simply because it was not equally returned. Not everyone who is near knows our hearts, and not everyone who is far has left them. There are people I speak to every day whose hearts I have never truly met. There are people I rarely see who I still hold with tenderness. Proximity can create familiarity, but love is not always built in closeness. Love can live in memories, in impact, in gratitude, in the quiet spaces between. Distance does not always mean disconnection, and closeness does not always mean connection. Love is not measured in miles or in how often two lives touch. It is measured with the greatest of affections. Love and access are different. I'm loving you from afar. Sometimes that's the boundary of how much I can give without hurting myself or wishing for more than reality. I love you, and I release the expectation that our closeness must look the way I once imagined. I bless you, and I allow reality to determine the distance. Not every door is meant to stay open. Not every path is meant to be shared. Not every love is meant to come closer. Sometimes love honors the truth by stepping back. Sometimes love is strongest when it no longer asks for more. Distance is not always the absence of love. Sometimes distance is simply the truth. Sometimes distance is the kindest choice, and sometimes distance is the deepest form of love we are capable of offering. And perhaps love becomes peaceful when reality is allowed to be real. Not every person is meant to stay. Not every relationship is meant to deepen. Not every love is meant to become closeness. Still, what was sincere remains sincere. What was beautiful remains beautiful. What was given in love is never wasted. Perhaps that is why I no longer wish to love with my eyes closed. I want to love with my eyes wide open, to bless what is here, to release what is not, and to trust that love in all of its forms has been teaching me how to come home. Thank you for letting me share these thoughts with you. Good night.